Yeah. Bleh. How we doing? How we doing? Starting off the stream. Starting off the stream. Hopefully good. Hopefully we good. I'm just gonna do a few things. Hello, hello, bun. Just gonna wait a bit. Just gonna wait a bit. Wait for people to get in here. Waiting for people. Waiting for people to get in here. Waiting for people. Waiting for people to get in here. So we can talk about the funny pit game. The funny pit. I love the funny pit. My favorite kind of pit. The funny pit. The funny pit game. I love the funny pit. My favorite kind of pit. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing on this fine, what day is today? Saturday, February 10th, 2024. Year of our Lord 2024. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing? I should really get music for the stream, but I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it right now, but I really should. Big stretch. Pits and giggles, indeed. I love pits. I love the pit. All right. Lost a fight with the Firefox PDF editor. Bro, me. Okay, there's like 6 people here now. I think that's a good amount. That's like the average amount of viewers we usually get on these streams. So we can let's start. Let's start. Let's talk about the funny pit game, shall we? Let's talk about the funny pit game. So, a little while ago, like 2 weeks ago or something, um, Into the Pit kind of leaked. It leaked. It very much leaked, which is honestly a lot of interesting stuff has been happening within the last year. Um, Mimic came to Ruin. Very first time a book character came to the games like fully. Like you could say like William did, Henry did, blah blah blah, but like Mimic first time a book character came into the games, and now we're getting a full on game adaptation of a book story, which is really cool. Very a first for the series, and that a lot of people have been wondering. Oh hey, is Into the Pit going to be canon to the games as a whole? Is it its separate canon? Is it like blah 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 continuity stuff? And that's what we're going to be talking about today and reacting to the trailer. I've seen it a bunch of times, but I don't care. We're going to watch it, dissect it, go through it, the works. And yeah. So I'm just going to get it up real quick. I'm going to get up the trailer. Um let's see. What the heck? Hang on. I should have probably done this before I started the stream. Also fully pixel art, seemingly platformer. I don't think it's gonna be a platformer. It could end up being a platformer. That would be interesting. It seems more like a explore and survive type of thing. I'm not really sure what I could compare it to, but I haven't really seen any like platforming elements. But I don't know. If it is a platformer, that would be very interesting. Oh, I think. Wait, no. Reminds me a lot of Super FNAF. Yeah, it does have very Super FNAF esque type of vibes. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, there we go. Need to size it down so I can fit it in this silly little box. There we go. Yippee! Also, if y'all hear guitars in the background, that's just one of my college dorm neighbors. So don't mind them. Okay, let's just see if this works real quick. My boy Oswald. I was watching somebody react to this trailer the other day, and for some reason I don't know why, but they knew who Oswald was, but they didn't register that this was also Oswald. Like the boy. This is it, right? Yeah. And then yeah, jump scare. Okay. So, like a minute long trailer. Wonderful, wonderful thing. Very interesting that it was leaked. Um but yeah. But yeah, I was watching a I was watching a reaction to this the other day, and for some like they knew who Oswald was from the story. They knew almost everything about like the Into the Pit story from Fazbear Frights. They just didn't register that the character was Oswald. I think that's funny. I don't know why. Like it was just weird. Anyways, so let's talk about it. So a lot of people, again, the big question surrounding this game is like, is it canon to the games? Is it canon to the books? Is it like its own separate canon? Which like I don't know why a lot of people have been debating like everything is its own separate continuity. It feels very weird. Like there's the whole thing with like the FNAF movie. There's the whole thing with the FNAF movie, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, the novelization. The novelization is slightly different, so it's a different continuity." So you would have like FNAF movie continuity, FNAF movie book continuity. It's always so weird with the books, and like credit where credit is due, or not really, I guess, but like I don't know, a similar type of wording, I guess, but like I used to believe that books separate continuity, blah blah blah. I mainly believed that with like the Tales. Wait, no, not the Tales. I mainly believed it with the Frights books, which is what this game is based off of. I mainly believed that the Frights were a separate continuity. I still kind of do, but mainly for like them as a whole. Or like, I believe that the Stitch line is connected to the games. Everything else, I don't really think so. I think it's like separate continuities, standalone stories, but like the Stitch line, I can see that being a good connection to the games. A good, like, I can see them fitting into the games. A timeline I posted a little while ago. I'm not sure if it was an updated one. Was it updated? Was the one that I posted in the community tab an updated? The updated one I did with the Fazbear Frights books, because I know I made one. I don't know. I made a little timeline a little while ago, and I made a timeline a little while ago, and I kind of made a chart of like how the Stitch line goes. And I've seen so many like Stitch line timelines. It's all so confusing because like people try to just fit in and shove in all the epilogues in it, and just go like all I did was just like everything starts at like To Be Beautiful, including epilogue 1, and everyone stops at like a little after Into the Pit or something like that. Like I don't know. Anyways, just weird stuff. Like a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, Into the Pit is now like a parallel. The Into the Pit game is a parallel to the Into the Pit story, which is a parallel to to the FNAF story." And it's like all these things, and it's like it's so overly complicated. And like, I'll agree. I'll agree. There are a lot of differences, but also, um, something a lot of people I feel like should realize is that, when talking about stuff like the FNAF movie novelization, it's a different medium. It's a different medium of media. It's a different medium of media, so things have to be done differently. And like, a lot of things from the main movie have to be cut, while things in the novelization they can stay because like, time constraints with the movie, blah blah blah, deleted scenes, blah blah blah. But like, that doesn't have to really happen for a novelization. Then again, Scott did say the FNAF movie novelization that did come out, it was apparently the wrong one. Either way, that still does mean that the FNAF movie novel, it is supposed to be canon. It is supposed to be like, same canon as the movie, same continuity, blah blah blah, just a different medium. So, that's obviously supposed to be same continuity, right? And for Into the Pit game, already there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of differences. Let's see if yeah, right here. This shot. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, it's Toy Bonnie," and frankly, it does look like Toy Bonnie. And I feel like that could be used as evidence that, oh yeah, this does take place in the main game timeline, because the toy animatronics never brought up. They're never brought up in the Fazbear Frights books. Not once. Not one FNAF 2-esque thing is brought up in the Fazbear Frights books, except for Shadow Bonnie. But even then, the Shadow Bonnie presented in the Fazbear Frights books, it's like, it's questionable Shadow Bonnie. It's more like a shadow. It's like a shadow entity that takes the form of Bonnie, but it's because like the restaurant where it is, it's not really the FNAF 2 restaurant. It's more of this like gigantic pizzeria. And Shadow Bonnie is like an actual character. Like it's not just Bonnie. It's like there's this weird mini game. It's like a hide and seek with a Shadow Bonnie, and it's like this weird hide and seek with Shadow Bonnie, and you have to find Shadow Bonnie. And it's not like Toy Bonnie or something. It's literally Shadow Bonnie. But that's like the only quote unquote FNAF 2 thing that are in the books. And the puppet, I wouldn't really say the puppet is in the Fazbear Frights books, because like, are you talking about like the scrap story that was with Mike, that Mike was in? Because that was a scrap story. I wouldn't really say that's like I don't know. I wouldn't really count that. Like again, FNAF 2 stuff barely in Fazbear Frights, and this one of the first like details you see. It's Toy Bonnie and the Paper Pals, and like that's pretty interesting, I think. And again, these could all just be Easter eggs, just like fun things, because it's a 10th anniversary game, so it could all just be very fun little Easter eggs. There's also a screenshot for a location called the Mill, which is interesting because Oswald never visits the mill in the game, and in that screenshot there is no, when Larson pulls out the puppet mask and the apples. Oh right, I forgot about that. That slipped my mind completely. Okay, yeah, puppet is in Frights. Okay, I forgot about. I don't know why I forgot about that. That was like a very like big part of the epilogue, because I don't know why that slipped my mind. Anyways, but still, like very little FNAF 2 stuff. Anyways, back to the mill. So there's this screenshot that leaked from location in the Into the Pit game, called the Mill, which is a location that is only really talked about in the story, but apparently we can visit it in the game. And in there is Trash in the Gang from Pizzeria Simulator. And, obviously, this means Into the Pit takes place after Pizzeria Simulator. I believe Stitchline in general takes place after Pizzeria Simulator. By the way, if you don't know what Stitchline is, it's the theory, or not really theory. It's the Fazbear Fright stories that takes place that connects to the epilogues. The epilogues of the Fazbear Frights are called the Stitch Ray Stingers, and the Stitchline are the series of stories that connect to the epilogues. Because only a handful of Fazbear Fright stories connect to the epilogues, while a lot of other ones are either its own, like, they're just secluded stories that kind of take place in their own little world, I guess. Yeah, so already a lot of game references, a lot of reference, or a lot of bleh, tripping up over my words. A lot of references to like the mainline series of FNAF games. So like that caused a lot of people to be like, oh yeah, that this might be a separate continuity from the Into the Pit story, which like. I don't know about that. This seems a little jumping to conclusions. To be fair, the multiverse is semi-confirmed to be canon in the FNAF movies. I mean, yeah, there is definitely a quote-unquote FNAF multiverse, but like, that's really only with things like it's a lot more obvious. It's a lot more obvious when it's something that's in a separate continuity. For instance, the Silver Eyes trilogy. That one was explicitly said to be a separate continuity by Scott, as well as major story details that were changed. The FNAF movie, another thing with major story details that were changed. For instance, dates, events, characters. So like those huge things being different that kind of make things a separate continuity. Meanwhile, Fazbear Frights, although there are a lot of inconsistencies, and I have bashed Fazbear Frights before about being somewhat inconsistent, or when it comes to things like events, mainly for Stitchline, when it comes to things like events and characters, those things mainly stay inconsistent. Or no, don't stay inconsistent. They're mainly consistent, not inconsistent. Sorry about that. Taking a drink of water. They remain mainly consistent. So like I feel like to really say something is 100% a separate continuity, it's usually a lot more obvious looking back. Like the Silver Eyes trilogy and the movie. Like those ones are obviously separate continuity. Meanwhile, things like the Stitch line and the Tales from the Pizzaplex books, there are subtle inconsistencies, but most of them are just things like, oh, it's a typo, or oh, the math isn't right. For instance, like the Scott in the original Into the Pit story, the missing children incident kids, it was labeled as half a dozen, which is 6. And within the game description says 5. So a lot of people assumed, oh, there's an extra kid in the books, meaning it's a separate continuity. But with the game description coming out, it definitely seems like Scott just didn't know that half a dozen definitively means 6, and was just using it to like round up. Cause like, that's a pretty big detail, and like already a lot of people have theorized, oh, half a dozen just is a silly way to round 6, or no, not 6, 5. Half a dozen is just a silly way to round 5. Which, like, it is weird, but, like, math mistakes are a very common thing within the FNAF series, like the whole thing with Charlie's Age and the Silver Eyes trilogy, um, the FNAF one. To be fair, the graphic novel also has 6 kids. I mean, that is true, but that could also be artist depiction, just from reading the story. Like instead of Scott saying, "Oh yeah, draw draw 5 kids only," it could have just been the artist like reading the story themselves and then drawing the words that they see, which like I could see that. But yeah, I think the Into the Pit game, now having 5 kids, I definitely think that the half a dozen line was most likely just a mistake. I definitely use the word couple when I see there's more than 2 things. So yeah, there. I definitely think it was just a typo or a mistake when it comes to that. But there's some other things. There's some other things like so some interesting things. Some other screenshots came out. Um, Firstly, screenshots came out with the main animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica. I don't know if Foxy was shown. I don't know, but also the kids are lined up against the wall rather than putting them in suits. Yeah, that was also a thing. However, in the game, again, like different media calls for different visual storytelling. So like for if you're looking at the if you're looking at a book versus a game can show a lot more rather than tell. Meanwhile, a book would have to tell more rather than show. So like all of these things, they can be different and they can still be like, the same core story. Like basically what I'm trying to get at is that like a lot of these a lot of these things, they're tiny details. They're very small kind of insignificant details, like, oh, it's a typo of 5. It's supposed to mean 5. It's they're lined up against the wall, blah blah blah. Like I feel like for these types of things, you should like look at it more of a storytelling perspective rather than like a direct thing, because also the inconsistencies can also be chalked up to a lore reason, which we'll get into later. But like you kind of have to look back and see like, oh, what is this story trying to tell us? It's obviously showing us a kid going into a ball pit and watching the missing children's incident happen, and like that's the core story. But as far as changes go, there are quite a lot from like the game versus the book. The game shows the main animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. I don't know if Foxy was shown. It shows the main animatronics being active, being seemingly currently possessed. Meanwhile, the Into the Pit story, it doesn't really show the animatronics doing anything. It just shows them performing, and then Oswald sees the dead kids. Um, but the game shows different things. However, interestingly enough, this what I'm showing on screen right now, it's of a seemingly empty Golden Freddy suit, because we do see Oswald hide inside of it. So, and also the game description also says something about saving the 5 children. So it could have this weird like alternate thing where like if you save the children somehow, you can hide inside the animatronics. If you don't save them, you can't hide inside the animatronics. But it's very weird. It's very weird. There are a lot of differences, but to go as far as saying, "Oh, these are entirely separate continuities," and like one is a parallel of the other, which is a parallel of this other thing, and blah 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 blah. That just feels like a lot. That feels very needlessly convoluted. And it kind of goes into this point where it's like, do they need to be separate continuities. Uh, that's a reason why some movies are so different from their source material. If it were exactly the same, what's the point of making it? You won't see anything new. Exactly. Like the thing with adaptations is like a lot of things they kind of need to be new because it's a brand new medium. It's a brand new medium of storytelling that it's in. Like the the FNAF movie, it wouldn't have shown like I don't know, like some dude turning left to right in an office for like 2 hours or something. It's not gonna show that. It's gonna show a story. It's gonna show a brand new thing. However, it's still gonna show elements we're familiar with. It's still gonna show elements we're familiar with, characters we're familiar with, stories we're familiar with. But that doesn't mean it's like a. That doesn't mean it's something we shouldn't pay attention to. It's just a new story. It's a new perspective. It's a new alternate thing. But some things are just going to be a little bit different for the sake of storytelling. But that doesn't mean it's not something we should pay attention. We shouldn't pay attention to. Like the novelization of the movie, it clearly shows that Garrett has a very heavy influence on Mike and the pizzeria as a whole. So just because it's a novelization, does that mean we should ignore it or take it as a separate continuity? Obviously not, because Scott did say that, like, oh yeah, I sent out the wrong version. Ignore the bad stuff in the version that was accidentally sent out. Meaning we should take a if you guys don't know, basically the wrong copy of the movie novelization was sent out, having one of the characters being Doug, basically kind of having him have a personality he wasn't really supposed to have in the final version. So until the new version does get sent out, so far only Doug is the only thing we should ignore, because that's like explicitly what Scott said. Like, just ignore Weird Doug. Weird Doug isn't canon. So I feel like that would mean the rest of the stuff is canon. But again, it's all just different mediums of storytelling. Lots of puns work well in writing. On the big screen, Sin for Survive works well as game mechanics, but not on paper. Exactly. Like, obviously things need to change when coming across different mediums. Like, Sin and Survive wouldn't work as a 2-hour-long movie. So as far as the Into the Pit game goes, I do think it's supposed to be the same thing as the book Into the Pit. It's just showing extra stuff. It's just showing a new perspective, but it's still the same story. I'm trying to think of a good example. A perfect example, actually, would be the Take Cake minigame from FNAF 2 versus the Puppet minigame from Pizzeria Simulator. It's two different things, two different perspectives of the same event. For instance, in Take Cake, we play as Freddy taking cake to children, and outside there is a child who gets murdered by Purple Guy. However, in the Puppet minigame, Freddy's not there. Freddy isn't there. Does that mean it's a separate continuity? No, of course not. It's just a different perspective. It's a different type of minigame. So obviously there's gonna be differences. It's still the same general story, so that should be enough to tell us, oh yeah, these silly little changes don't really mean anything. It's just a different medium. It's a different perspective on the same exact story. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I'm waffling. Basically, gist of it is that differences are a little bit silly. It's not really enough to say these are completely separate continuities or separate stories just because some details are a little iffy. But when it comes to connecting to the main series of games. Again, I used to believe that the Stitch line wasn't canon to the games. It was in a separate continuity, but now I do believe that the Stitch line is in the same continuity as the games. Um but I can still understand people not really seeing that just because they don't really impact the games as much or as much as like Tales from the Pizzaplex does. But I still think it's something people should pay attention to. And I do think that Into the Pit is a good way of connecting those stories to the games because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, the games set up the main continuity of FNAF, the games set up the main story of FNAF, blah blah blah. So like what would make Into the Pit different? How would Into the Pit be different from that? Like, some people have said, oh, it's a different style. I mean, sure, but also like the pixelated 8-bit mini games from FNAF 2 and 3 and etc. They're also in a pixelated style. So like, what would make those would would the different style would the style change make those non-canonical to the main gameplay? Would like there's a lot of bleh. The statements from the community are more inconsistent than the games themselves. Oh man, I'm taking a drink of water. But like, main point, main point is that do these things really need to be in a separate continuity? Because to me, they make perfect sense being in, the same continuity. Like, some things maybe don't line up. Of course, every story has its inconsistencies. Every gigantic year. Bleh, I'm losing my words. Every gigantic story is gonna have its inconsistencies. That's my main point. Every gigantic story is gonna have its inconsistencies. Star Wars, it spanned many years, has a lot of inconsistencies, but still, I'm sure a lot of these things it's gonna have its inconsistencies, but still it's a consistent story still. Does it have a little bit of inconsistencies here and there? Sure. But it's still a decently consistent story to the point where you can tell what's going on. Well, it could be a fun thing like Freddy in Space or Fury's Rage. It doesn't have to be canon at all. I mean, it could be a fun little thing. However, that's more. I don't know. Because you're taking a story about anthropomorphic animal characters fighting in space and pinning it up against a story that could very easily fit within the main continuity of FNAF. It's a comparing Fury's Rage or Freddy in Space to the Into the Pit game or the Fazbear Frights. Those are very different. Those are vastly different. Like the stories, everything. I feel like the anthropomorphic characters are enough to say oh yeah, this is definitely a different continuity. I wouldn't blame people for thinking Freddy in Space was canon though. The more people demand answers, the deeper the holes get. I agree. Um, the quote from UCN from Mr. Hippo being sometimes a story is just a story. You look into every little thing, it's just gonna get worse or something. Whatever the quote was. But I feel that. That is exactly I think it's funny. Because that quote came out from UCN and everyone just brushed it off. It's infuriating, but it's also funny at the same time because it's literally just the game creator going, "Hey, stop looking into everything so much. You're all insane," and everyone just ignored it. It was funny. It was funny. But yeah, I don't really see how I don't really see why Into the Pit would have to be a separate continuity from its book counterpart, and why it would have to be a separate continuity from the games. But then again, we've only seen leaked stuff that could very well be early development. For instance, for instance, I'm gonna try to get it. But the cover that a lot of people use for the game. Hang on, let me get it up real quick. The cover a lot of people use for the Into the Pit game. It's like it shows Pit Bonnie, but like really like shiny. Like dude looks metallic. I'm gonna try to get it. It might take me a bit. Just bear with me. Hang on. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Does this show? Why is this not showing? What the heck? Hang on. This is being silly. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Anyways, this thing. For some, so the this was one of the leaked covers for the game, and so you know, not really supposed to be shown, and let me get it real quick. Okay, okay, I have it now. What the heck? Hang on. I messed up. I'm being dumb. Hang on. Blah, no. There we go. Okay. So the leaked screenshot of the game. What happened? Did I do something dumb? Did I do something dumb? What happened? I don't know. Anyways, leaked screenshot for the game. It showed like Pit Bonnie being really shiny and stuff, and then this image, the one I have on screen right now, um, it shows Pit Bonnie being all fluffy, and this is like the official, this is the official one that came out from like the company making the game. So like already that's telling enough that the leaked stuff we've seen, the leaked stuff we've seen, obviously very much early, either concepts or not really concepts, I guess, just early stuff. So the stuff we've seen that hasn't been officially released, most likely very early. So it's gonna be very hard to tell what's actually, what's actually gonna be in the game based off what we've seen. So I feel like intense debates about it right now might be a little bit silly, but I do think overall the game would connect to the other games. I wouldn't really see why not. Let me read the chat real quick. Momentarily cloned myself. Oh, okay. I thought I like doxed myself for a second. Okay. To be fair, I just don't want to acknowledge that Eleanor is canon. We'll talk about that another time. Because I feel like the main the main problem with Eleanor is just she's not well explained. She's not well explained. She could definitely be explained much better. Um but yeah, I feel like Eleanor being canon, it's not really a problem. It's just a lot of like Remnant stuff. There's a lot of stuff about Remnant in Fazbear Frights, and it's definitely one of those series where like if you take it all at once, it's gonna be a lot. But I feel like Eleanor being canon isn't really much of a problem. At least like looking at it from a storytelling perspective, because like uh, Stitchline, it's kind of like this epilogue to to the main series, I guess, like the original series. It's kind of this weird epilogue that expands upon things further. Like it talks about Remnin, it kind of alludes to the fact that William Afton didn't only kill 5 kids. Um, it does a lot. It does a lot for the series. So like Eleanor being canon, it's not really that big of a problem if you kind of look at it from a if you kind of just take a step back and look at it. I was talking only looks. I don't like Circus Baby. Lol. I don't like Circus Baby either. I think Circus Baby's ugly. Circus Baby's ugly, and so is Eleanor. Boo. I think the graphic novel version of Eleanor, I think it looks a lot better. Graphic novel Eleanor looks a lot better. Although I want to see more like actual like story accurate designs, because like isn't she described to be like a mannequin with a really like a metallic mannequin with a really long neck? I want to see that. That sounds cool. I need to draw them. I need to draw Eleanor. I need to draw the Frights characters. Because like the way they're described, they sound cool, but like most official artist renditions are just like eh. They just leave a lot of stuff to be desired. Anyways, Null, I'm glad you're here. Hello, Null. I'm very glad you're here. Would you like to bring up some topics? Would you like to bring up some topics to discuss, Null? Because I feel like there's more I could discuss with the Into the Pit game, but I'm kind of running a blank. I've been waffling for like 30 minutes. I feel like I've just been waffling all this time. Fez beer freights. But now, what about Andrew if we removed that sixth kid? I don't really think Andrew was supposed to be the sixth kid anyway. I kind of think that the whole like half a dozen thing was just a mistake, and it was just Scott rounding up for five because already Andrew Andrew is a very just got here. May what have y'all covered? We just covered about like continuity and stuff, and how like it wouldn't really make sense for the Into the Pit game to be a separate continuity from the Into the Pit book, which would be a separate continuity from the mainline games, and how different media calls for different ways. Different media calls for different types of storytelling. That's the main stuff we've covered. But I feel like I've just been waffling for the most time. Anyways, Andrew. I don't really think Andrew was the sixth kid anyway. He's already his whole entire character is that he has no friends and that he kind of just hates everyone before Jake. That is, like in like before bleh, before becoming friends with Jake, Andrew was kind of just like he didn't really like anyone. He just lashed out at everyone, just entirely enveloped in anger. So him being like dying at a birthday party, as rude as it sounds, that kid has like no friends. I don't really think that would fit his character that well. If it was like some kid that William did like experiments on with the nightmare chamber, and then Andrew was getting back at him through nightmares, that would be pretty fitting. I feel like that would fit a lot more. Uh, but like, Andrew's whole thing is just like he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't really trust anyone. He's very vindictive. He's supposed to be this forgotten, unknown victim of Afton. Yeah, I definitely feel like he's just supposed to be not really random Afton victim, but definitely more of a previous victim of Afton that was definitely supposed to allude to like Afton not really being just like, oh, he just killed people in the pizzeria, but rather, oh, Afton is in fact a serial killer and there might as well be a lot more victims that we don't know about. I feel like that was kind of Andrew's purpose in like a when relating to Afton, I feel like that was Andrew's purpose to just tell us like Afton didn't just kill in the pizzeria, he killed a lot of other kids, and we probably didn't know about them. Same thing with the Didophobia story, because that kind of shows off a brand new character who was a victim to Afton in one way or another. Bro's roasting a literally dead child. I wouldn't have made friends either if I was a dead ghost, TBH. I mean, listen, Bro literally has no memories. I don't know how he's taking revenge on Afton. Like the whole, I'm just gonna waffle a bit, just a tiny bit about UCN. But like I don't understand the whole like he's taking revenge on Afton with UCN because Andrew's whole thing is that he doesn't have friends and he has little to no memory of his past life. Like how would Bro get this entire collage of characters that spans across multiple decades and shove them all into a personal torment for Afton? Well, meanwhile, he has no memories and no friends. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm overthinking. It just doesn't make sense to me. Which, like, I waffling about UCN can be an entirely separate stream, and it probably will be, because I have a lot of stuff to say about UCN and Andrew. Okay, am I the only one who thinks there's a big parallel between Ennard and the Stitch Wraith? I don't really. I mean, there is like there's design parallels to them, and that's really it. The only parallel between Stitch Wraith and Ennard are the design parallels, because they're what I call amalgamation animatronics, which is multiple pre-possessed objects being put in a an animatronic, being put to make an animatronic. For instance, Andrew possessed the fetch battery, Jake possessed the a doll head, and those were kind of put into this big animatronic skeleton. And the Fun Times, they were all their own separate animatronics, and then they were made to be entered. But that's really the only like connection, not really connection, just parallel they have. Um, I don't think they really have any story parallels other than, I mean, no, that's really it. Just the design parallels, I think. Um, I mean, Andrew's whole thing is to keep William Afton alive, to torture him. He's unwilling to let him die because letting him die would mean letting him get away with stuff. He doesn't need memory if he's left inside a guy's brain. Um, but he doesn't say he attached himself to Afton. Plus, he's in Afton's mind. Afton probably would have seen all of those characters. I agree. However, I feel like Andrew could have seen a lot of stuff. If Andrew being in Afton's mind, and that's why he was able to do all that, I feel like he would have been able to see a lot of stuff. And like, why would he specifically be like, "Oh yeah, these characters you created, I'm gonna make them kill you"? Why? I don't know, man. I'm just kind of silly like that. Like that would, like, if again, like, that's very big speculation. Like, that's kind of why I think Cassidy would work better as the one you should not have killed, because, like, it's a character who spans multiple decades, have seen and experienced everything Afton has done. Meanwhile, Andrew is kind of just this random character who seemingly doesn't really have any memories. And like he said it himself, he doesn't even know why he's taking revenge on Afton. All he knows is that Afton hurt him. Like, that's all he knows. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm just forgetting some stuff because it has been a little bit since I've last read the epilogues and Man Room 12. I mean, it hasn't really been a little bit. It's been like since December, I think. Maybe not. Maybe like beginning December was the last time I read them. But still, like, Andrew just being in William Afton's mind, and then suddenly, like, I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't feel concrete, I guess. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. There's a lot of things I could say about it. It just doesn't feel concrete. It feels more speculative to me. But I do think there could be, pro tip: make notes next time. I should make notes. I should make notes for these things. Or you could just look on the FNAF wiki. That'd be worse. That'd be far worse. Um, Again, all he gives him is just nightmares in universe, nightmares and dreams that are basically made by combining memories. I don't think UCN is completely literal. UCN is a fusion of characters and locations from the past, because like a dream slash nightmare, it's a fusion of multiple memories. I do agree. However, how would Andrew know to torment? Like, there's just a lot of stuff Andrew would just have to know without any explanation. Like, how would he know that all of this stuff is to, like, torment Afton? How is he supposed to know that, like, Springtrap or Scraptrap was Afton? How is he supposed to make these voices? And like, how is, like, with the characters, like, especially with things like the puppet, Andrew's not supposed to know who Charlotte is. Definitely not Charlotte's voice. Like, how would he be able to do that? How would he be able to know that Charlotte specifically is a very key character to the story of Afton? How would he know? Like, there's just so many things that Andrew would just have to conveniently know and just like immediately be like, aha, I'm gonna torment you with this. Why? I have no idea. It all just feels very convenient, I guess. I don't think Andrew was just like, aha, he'll have to suffer, pay the bear 10 coins, that'll make him suffer. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's all supposed to be like extremely literal. Again, UCN is probably just this thing of I see it just as a torment for William for like being in the afterlife rather than a dream. How's he supposed to know? Because he's literally in dude's brain, bro. I don't know. I'm like, again, like, I don't. Would that just allow Andrew access to all of William's memories or something? Or I don't know. We don't necessarily know how ghost rules of FNAF universe work. I guess so. I don't know. Maybe I am just overthinking. A lot of it just feels like convenient, or like everything would just have to be very like convenient, or just like speculative. I guess I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't. It don't feel right. Again, there's the whole stuff with like Old Man Consequences and Golden Freddy. Like, I feel like Andrew being like, what was the I've heard people give explanations to Golden Freddy being in UCN, like an active and conscious threat in UCN. Meanwhile, Andrew is being there. Wasn't it just something like, oh yeah, Cassidy just left? Like, that's what? That just feels silly to me. That feels a bit weird to me, because like the whole thing with like Cassidy leaving was like the ending cutscene of Golden Freddy like twitching in anger or something, which like Springtrap also does that. He does the exact same movements in the FNAF 3 trailer, and I don't think that's really I don't think those are wiggles of acceptance or something. Those seem very furious wiggles. I don't think those are wiggles of acceptance. I mean, yeah, Jake also has memory powers. He can literally change the memories of a random homeless person. If Andrew similarly to Jake uses Afton's memories against him, he would know. Like Jake is able to make people focus on positive memories to make them feel better. Like the homeless guy, Andrew will just do the opposite. I guess so. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I can see that. I could see that, I guess. But again, I feel like UCN, like my argument to one you should not have killed being Cassidy is more just because all of the Golden Freddy stuff that we see in UCN. Plus, it would fit more. Cause like, again, what's the theory with Cassidy being in UCN? Like, she just leaves and like, I don't know, wiggles, very angry looking, but it's supposed to be acceptance or something. I don't know. Also, that with like the Old Man Consequences line being like, sit with me a while, rest your own soul, and then instead the pixel bear just goes into the lake. Like, I don't know, it feels very unaccepting. Because like, if Old Man Consequences is being like, oh yeah, sit with me and leave the demon to his demons, and then the pixel bear just goes into the lake and doesn't sit with Old Man Consequences, that feels like very unaccepting, right? I don't know. Like, Jake is able to make people feel. Oh wait, yeah, I already read that. I'm waffling way too much about UCN. I did not want to do this right now. I wanted to leave UCN for an entirely different stream. Well, the kid in the end of the story with curly black hair appears in Golden Freddy. Huh? The kid at the end of the story, a body. Are you talking the new kid? In the new kid at the end of the story, a body appears with. I mean, yeah. But also, Cassidy has been described to have black hair in multiple instances, but also, to be fair, she's also been described to be not have. She's been described and shown to both have black hair and not have black hair. So like, either way, fair. But also, the new kid doesn't really present enough evidence for it to be Andrew. Not to mention, that's definitely not a location we visited in the games, like the because like what was it? It was a restaurant with a giant like Freddy head as an entrance or something. I don't know, but like it doesn't really. The new kid doesn't really have a lot of evidence pointing to the character having black hair. Also, if you do want to use the curly black hair as evidence, that would immediately contradict Andrew being the one you should not have killed, because the image of the child seemingly has blonde hair rather than black curly hair. Which, like, I understand it's like a picture of Scott's son or what something, but like, still, Scott could have easily got like image of kid with black curly hair and put it into the game. If that was the intention, or just made Andrew blonde. Like But like, I feel like using the black hair in Golden Freddy, I don't know. Because also Andrew has also had like the alligator mask and being possessed by Fetch. Plus, again, Andrew's whole thing is that he doesn't have friends and doesn't have memories. Meanwhile, Cassidy is constantly shown to be with the MCI, assuming they're friends, and Cassidy has always also been shown, or Golden Freddy, I should more accurately say, Golden Freddy has also always been shown to be like grouped in with the MCI, assuming they're friends. Golden Freddy has also been shown to be a little more aware. I guess that pertains more to the movie and maybe the Silver Eyes. My throat's getting dry. I'm talking a lot. But yeah, Cassidy is the red bear, basically, in the theory. Fredbear or red bear? She leaves the lake. Let's go when Freddy cutscene is fading away. Cassidy leaving. I don't think it's satisfying either. Scott simply wasn't dedicated enough to paint his kid's hair black. Also, the way the picture of the child was photoshopped, hair was black, but able to see it. Yeah, I agree. I agree to that too. I'm just saying, like, if it was intentionally supposed to be Andrew, the one that you should not have killed face, if that was intentionally supposed to be Andrew, there is stuff that could have been done to make it more obvious that it is intentionally supposed to be Andrew, like giving Andrew a blonde bowl cut. That would have been like a dead ringer, I feel like. That would have been like exactly the detail to be like, yeah, that's Andrew, but no, instead he has black curly hair. And or just like Scott could have just like found a kid on Google with black curly hair, or just like a kid with black curly hair and an alligator mask. If he really wanted to, he could have just asked somebody to. He could have just commissioned somebody to draw a menacing looking child with black curly hair and just like hit it somewhere in the game. I'm like, my main point is, if the kid in the Golden Freddy suit is supposed to be Andrew, and if the one you should not have killed face is supposed to be Andrew, there's a lot of stuff that could have made it more, I wouldn't say obvious, but more telling, I guess. Not even. Just like a lot more stuff that would have made sense. A lot of more stuff to make it consistent, like make it clear. And like, it's not even like one of those, oh, couldn't have been done to. There's something that should have been done to make it more obvious, and like, yeah, Scott never makes stuff obvious. It's just like, I don't know. It's just a lot. It feels like a lot more could have been authentically done. Kid with black curly hair and an alligator mask is an oddly specific stock image to find. I mean, you could look up, like, there's photoshopping, to be fair. Like, I wouldn't put it past Scott to be able to Photoshop, or at least just like you could at least just like find a kid with like an alligator mask on Google or something. Like, that would have been enough, I feel. But like, there's just a lot of things. There's a lot of, I would say, a lot of loose threads connecting Andrew to Golden Freddy. Most of it would have to be like speculatory or convenient, I think. I wanted to save this for an entirely different stream, dang it. I'm waffling too much about UCN. I didn't want to do this now. Dang it. I wanted to save this for an entirely different stream. No. Ah. But anyways, that's just my opinion. There could have been a lot more things that would have very easily connected Andrew to UCN. For instance, a very cool detail in Man in Room the Man in Room 1280, I think that's what it's called. A cool detail that could have been added was like if the priest, whatever his name is, if he like put his ear next to William Afton's face and then you heard like a UCN quote. That would have been really cool. That would have been a very telling thing. Like just random whispers of like UCN quotes. That would have been very cool and telling, but instead there's just like, oh, there's this kid who's possessing this dude's dead body, or like not undead body, his undead body, and he's making him have dreams. Bro isn't even stuck in the dreams either. He can just wake up sometimes too. Like it doesn't. Meanwhile, like UCN feels like this struggle, not really even struggle, just like this torment of like multiple souls attacking William, just like mercilessly. And like even if William does manage to win, it just restarts. It just feels like a never-ending torment. Meanwhile, the dream thing in Man in Room 1280, it's like this. It's specifically described to be this back and forth of two things trying to gain control of one another. And, you know, that's not what UCN is. UCN is this just merciless beating of William Afton. Well, it just feels like it doesn't really fit. To me, at least. Yeah, I could just talk about it again. I just wanted to save this, though. I agree he should have just gotten an artist to draw the kid, but I guess he found the Funtime Chica art a higher priority. Cosmic, I love you, but if there was unironically a scene of the priest holding his ear close to William's chorus and you heard a random Nightmare BB voice line, that would have ruined the story for me. I know, but listen, it would have been a lot more obvious. Just something. Just something to make it like a little bit more obvious. It wouldn't even have to be like the priest holding his ear to William Afton. It could just be like randomly the priest hears these weird voices or something. Like that could have been good. Like he's just walking around the hospital and then just randomly he sees like the shadow kid. He sees Andrew's spirit just like run past him. And there's just and then he hears like the beginning of a UCN quote. Like that would have been really good if that was you know, if Man in Room 1280 is supposed to be UCN, that would have been really good. I'm losing my voice, goodness. You know the black and white gif of all the people lining up with cartoonish weapons ready to pummel some guy? That's UCN. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of stuff in UCN too that points to it being multiple spirits in the place. The main one being, you know, the puppet seemingly being aware and conscious. Like that feels like a big one. Also, like Withered Bonnie saying, "What is this new prison?" Multiple spirits talking about the one you should not have killed in. Would it be first person? I think so. But yeah, like if that's all supposed to be Andrew, that feels weird. It feels weird. It feels, I don't know. I just feel like there's not enough to definitively say that Andrew is the one you should not have killed, and that UCN is just like this this dream while William Afton is in the hospital. Like I could see it. Oh wait, hang on. The priest sees Andrew in the hallway and he says, "Showtime's on the hour." That would have been funny. That would have been funny. That would have been really funny. I don't know. What are some? There's definitely some like actual fitting lines. I know you're messing with me, but there could have been actual fitting lines that would have fit within the story. What are some fitting lines? I'm gonna look up UCN quotes just to prove my point. Um. Oh yeah. If there's like a line of like there just isn't room in here for both of us. He. That would have been perfect. That would have been literally perfect. Like that would have been a perfect quote to put in. There just isn't enough room for both of us. That would have been perfect. That would have been wonderful. That would have been so fitting. That's literally what Man in Room 1280 is about. That would have been perfect. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that would have been very fitting, I think. To be fair, Andrew is just one victim. Arguably, he might not even have had the worst death. It feels odd that he would be driving force behind UCN compared to. We got cut off on that last one, but I do agree. Andrew does feel very random, especially when you take into account all the Golden Freddy stuff and the Old Man Consequences stuff. Like he feels very random. If UCN is supposed to be this collage of characters, then sure, I could see him like being somewhere in there. Right after William explodes, Andrew appears and says the iconic line, "Uh oh, how unfortunate." That would have been funny. That would have been good, I think. I know it's a joke, but that could have been good. I would have appreciated that. Like, uh oh, how unfortunate. That would have actually been good for like when the nurse gets stabbed in the arm with the needle. Uh oh, how unfortunate. Like that would have been good, I think. Like there's genuinely some lines that would have fit with the story that could also tie back to UCN. Like let's taste death again and again and again. I am the fearful reflection of what you have created. Maybe I don't know. That one might not fit that well, but like still, there's a lot of quotes that could have fit into the story. Just like random little voice snippets or something. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It could have. If Man in Room 1280 is supposed to be UCN and not just random spirit attacking William with nightmares, it could have done. It could have gone a lot better. But I don't know. I'm just gonna say my theory for what UCN is, since I'm already waffling about it. I do think, like the Afton amalgamation. What's his? He calls himself the Agony. I'm just gonna call him Afton amalgamation because that's a stupid little name. Stupid little name for a stupid little man. Afton amalgamation in the Frights epilogues, where he's like an amalgamation of multiple different characters, multiple different Fazbear characters. I feel like, and like the marionette mask is put on him, and then he drowns in a lake. I feel like that would have been a very good segue to UCN. I feel like that's what UCN is after. Did I say that right? I think so. I don't know. Ugh. Anyways, like I feel like that would be very fitting. Like that's when UCN is. When William Afton is literally surrounded by or like not even surrounded, just like William Afton is in a form that is made up, that's an amalgamation of these past characters that he has taken advantage of, that he has killed, and just all of that. And all of a sudden he's overwhelmed by it and he's overtaken by it, and then he dies in a lake, and that's when UCN happens. Like he's literally trapped in an amalgamation of characters, and that's basically what UCN is. And I feel like that would be a very fitting time for to put UCN. I feel like I'm waffling again, but like that's the gist of my theory. Like UCN is a kind of quote unquote purgatory. I won't say purgatory because whenever I say purgatory, a lot of people are just like, "Oh, he's Catholic." Like, no, that's not what I mean. I just mean purgatory as a thing he can't escape from. But yeah, I feel like that would be a good time for UCN to be, in my opinion, at least. I don't know. I just feel like Andrew doesn't really fit with UCN. I do think it would be kind of cool if Andrew was one of the nightmare chamber victims. If he was a victim of the nightmare chamber and then getting revenge on William by giving William nightmares, like that'd have been cool. That would be cool. I think that would be very fitting revenge. I don't know. I do hope Into the Pit kind of gives us more context on Andrew though. That would be wonderful. Because like this isn't to say I hate Andrew or anything. I just think that the stuff that UCN gives us, as well as the stuff that the epilogues and Man in Room 1280 give us, I feel like it doesn't really fit with Andrew's character. I feel like UCN doesn't really fit to the Andrew's character, and then there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't really go explained if Andrew is the one you should not have killed. Like a lot of the characters seemingly having their own consciousness, all of the stuff with Golden Freddy, Old Man Consequences. Like if it's supposed to be a dream and not the afterlife, then like what the flip is Old Man Consequences doing here? To be honest, there's a very high chance that not all Afton's victims got to possess an animatronic, because whether or not the nightmares are a dream or not, I don't feel like there's a lot of... I mean, yeah, a lot of signs of them being possessed, except in UCN. Yeah, I don't think... I don't think all of William's victims possess anything. Because, again, there's still... I forget his name. The kid in Didophobia who was trapped in the nightmare chamber for, like, 10 years. Like, I don't think, like, it doesn't really seem like he would possess anything. And even then, he was manipulated heavily by William. So, like, he might not even be vengeful to William from a, like, looking back at it, it's kind of messed up because, like, I don't think he would really realize that William did anything bad. But yeah. Yeah. Anyways, back to Into the Pit because I got so flippin' off topic. I do hope that it does bring more context to Andrew. I feel like it could. It could in probably very interesting ways. When they get the chance to revenge on Afton to pick up an animatronic that they like to pummel him, that would be funny. But yeah, UCN is definitely not supposed to be literal, but I do think the stuff that it does show would make more sense for Cassidy / Golden Freddy as like the main force. But I definitely think there's more than one spirit in UCN. I feel like it just makes more sense that way, at least. But that's just my opinion. I'm waffling way too much about UCN. I wanted to do a whole other stream about UCN. I'll do that some other time, I guess. I don't know. I have a lot on my mind about UCN. Anyways, Into the Pit. So like, back to Into the Pit. I've seen a lot of people say or like assume that I'm gonna go get dinner. Be good to see chat. Thank you, Bun. Thank you, Bun. No, I wanted to talk about UCN later. Stop bringing up UCN. God. Okay, what is it? To be fair, with the characters being aware in UCN thing, with how spirits work in FNAF them being the remnants laugh track of the memories and emotions of those people. Andrew bringing in those characters. I don't know how to pronounce that. I can't read. From Afton's memories would be, in a sense, would actually be those characters a remnant of them from Afton's view, at least. No, I will not let you go. No, I will not let you go. This is a UCM stream now. I didn't want this to be the UCM stream. This wasn't supposed to be the UCM stream. This was supposed to be the Into the Pit stream. God damn it. Bro is never letting me go. Bro is never letting me rest. I don't know. Bleh. I don't know. I feel like it just makes more sense for Cassidy, because again, like that would all just be speculation still, like with them just being like remnants of William Afton's memory. Also, I don't know, would that even work, because like one of Charlie's whole entire things was just like, oh, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Like a lot of it is just like the characters overcoming William, and like if it's supposed to be from William's perspective, I feel like that wouldn't really work, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to talk about UCN anymore right now. I don't feel like it anymore. I just want to talk about Into the Pit. No, stop bringing up UCN. Stop it. Also, Null, I'm making you a mod just for fun. Just because. Null, you're a mod now. You're a mod now, Null. Anyways, can I talk about Into the Pit now? Is that okay? Can I talk about Into the Pit now, please? That's what this stream was supposed to be about, but then it started becoming UCN, because I can't stop waffling. I sadly can't stop waffling. I can't stop waffling. This is awful. I can't stop waffling. I can't stop waffling. Anyways, I'm going to talk more about Into the Pit now, because that's what this stream was supposed to be about. Anyways, I've seen a lot of people talk about Into the Pit and assume that Pit Bonnie is William Afton, which, like, fair, I suppose. Because, like, you know, if you haven't read the books, you probably don't have any context on it. Let me speak of the 4chan ball pit. But, you know, for anyone watching who doesn't know, the bunny thing, it's not William. I don't really know what it is. I think it's supposed to be Eleanor. But it's definitely supposed to be some weird type of memory remnant creature that was born, quote unquote, in the ball pit, made out of remnant, some weird remnant creature that's just like a physical manifestation of memories of like the missing children incident kids. At least that's what a lot of people say. Either that or it's Eleanor being silly, which, like, you know, I could imagine. But yeah, that explains like the weird teeth and stuff you see. Anyways, what else is there? What else is there to talk about? Also, the ball pit doesn't time travel. It's silly remnant stuff. Remnant is stored in the balls. Remnant is stored in the balls, and then you go into the ball pit and you inhale the remnant balls, and then your brain, it gets transported back to like 1985 or something. Just to be specific about it. Again, if you didn't hear me, remnant is stored in the balls. That's really all you need to know about Into the Pit, honestly. Like, just going into the new game, that's really all you need to know. The remnant was stored in the balls. What else is there to talk about? Null, do you have any ideas for stuff to talk about? Besides UCN. I don't want to talk about UCN anymore. I don't wanna. I know no wanna. I have no ideas. My brain empty. I think I've kind of just talked about everything that I felt like needed to be said, I guess, just on my perspective. I don't know. I think that's probably it. I need to make notes. I need to make notes for the next stream. I also need dinner. I'm getting hungry. I might end the stream soon. I need food. I need to make notes. I need food. I'm gonna eat the notes. Did you talk about the FNAF 6 being the mill yet? No. Because I don't really believe that. What even is a mill? Because I don't think. Hang on. Hang on. I'm just gonna look up what a mill is. What is a mill? Um. I mean, yeah, mills are typically some big factory type thing. So I don't really think it's supposed to be the FNAF 6 location. Also, that wouldn't really make sense if it was the FNAF 6 location because like Detective Larson did talk about going to number one, Detective Larson talked about going to the FNAF 6 fire location and it was not described as the mill. Number two, the FNAF 6 location is still like looks like a pizzeria at the end of uh, FNAF 6 shown in Security Breach. So I don't, yeah. The mill is for making flour. So yeah, I don't think it's FNAF 6 location. I think the trash and the gang stuff was probably dumped there because like it's an abandoned place and there's like probably just being used as a dump or something, or it was just near. FNAF 6 location was just near the mill. But I don't think FNAF 6 location is supposed to be the mill. It would be kind of weird if it was. At least like looking back onto the books only. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. Is it supposed to be? Did I miss something, or is that just a theory because of the trash and the gang stuff? Am I dumb? Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. My nose is itchy. I don't know what else to talk about. That was really all I had on my mind. I already waffled enough. Thinking that where this was where they got the trash in the gang for Pizzeria Simulator, with the company literally being called Dumpster Diver Weekly. True, but also wasn't like Helpy in the trash can? Wasn't there Helpy in the trash can or something? Or like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the game isn't even out yet. Stuff could change, potentially. I don't know. I feel like it being after Pizzeria Simulator would make the most sense. It being before would be confusing. If it was before Pizzeria Simulator, that wouldn't really make much sense. I feel like, right? I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna end the stream now. I'm getting hungry. I want food. What stream am I gonna do next time? I have no idea. Stay tuned for next week. Might play Ruin or something. I don't know. Might waffle more about UCN. Who's to say? Be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to smash that like button. Smash that like button. Yeah. Be sure to smash that like button. Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyways, uh, have a great day, night, or heat death of the universe, depending on what time you're watching this. Goodbye. Bye everyone. Thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me waffle for like an hour and a half. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me waffle. It was fun. I like waffling about things. I like saying the word waffle too. It's